Today I'm going to talk about putting God first and how that has been misinterpreted. Not that God shouldn't be first, but that this has been used against the people. And it has been used against the people by those who want power and put themselves in positions of having control over people, like in religions. But it's also been misinterpreted by those who may have good intentions and want to steer the people away from putting themselves above God. And then there are others who give us this message out of fear because they're afraid to go to hell, or they're afraid that God will rebuke them if they tell us differently. And so we have been conditioned and told over time that we are basically second-class citizens, third-class citizens, fourth. I mean, we are like the lowest of the low, and we don't deserve anything because we are corrupt and part of a corrupt world. This has been told to us as a human race for a long time, definitely since Christianity. But before that, we see how spiritual texts have been misinterpreted, and that religion tends to put everybody else above humanity. Jesus, the demigods, the angels. Seems like everyone else in the spiritual realm is higher than us, except, Satan and the demons. And so we tend to be conditioned to think of ourselves that way, which is one of the reasons we have so much trouble getting away from that sense of unworthiness. And we're struggling with it all the time. So it seems to be in our biological DNA, and some are worse than others, but it's also somewhere in our spiritual DNA, in the spiritual realm as well as the physical, and we're struggling with this. It has reconditioned us to do as we're told, to be obedient, and that has been harmful in many ways to the people. It has been harmful because they have been controlled by people who don't have good intentions, but say they do. And so we have to always be on our guard. And now we're a little bit wiser than we used to be about such things. We have to be cunning. We have to understand the mind of the serpent without becoming the serpent. We have to understand what makes them click. How do they maneuver things? What are they thinking about? How do they strategize? And we have to make sure that we're protecting ourselves and our loved ones and humanity as a whole. So what is this put God first really? We know that it has caused harm. And it has caused us to feel like we are nothing. We are unworthy. Because we do have a sense in us that, yes, of course we want to put God first. God is everything to us. God is love. God is joy. God is everything that we seek. We want to be with him. So when we are putting God first, what's going on? Okay. God is the creator of the universe. I think most of us know that God created everything and that something happened. And I have said that because the creation fell, the creation was creating because we're made in the image of God. And so we were creating, and we ended up creating something outside of God's will. And that's why we have this material world. It is somewhat of an illusion because of that, because God is going to take everything back, and everything is going to go back to true life. What we're experiencing here has a lot to do with the scenarios that we have created through a fallen spirit. Okay? So, who is that fallen spirit? We know him. His name is Satan, right? I mean, that's Satan, the devil, the dragon. There is a spirit that is fallen. And we as human beings live in this spirit. And so we create and live, and we think, we feel, we have intention, we act, all in this spirit. We can call it the human spirit, but we also like to use that term to mean good things. But in reality, everything we do as a human being is done in the spirit of Satan, in this fallen spirit. And so what's happening is we are planting seeds of a fallen spirit, and that's corruption. That is the reason for all of the words in the Bible that say how awful humanity is, right? Fallen and filthy and corrupt and all of these terrible things. It's because of that spirit. Now, we are born into that spirit. As human beings, we're born into this spirit. It's not like we did something bad and we're like thrown back into this world. We're born here before we can be resurrected. Now, there may be a lot more going on, and I don't want to get into that in this video. There is a lot more going on as to our DNA and our spiritual DNA. We're all born to the places that we're born, the people that we're born to, because of our destiny. It is not our fault that we are born here. Okay, so when people say, oh, you're born wicked, you're a terrible person. No, we're born into the spirit, no matter what. We're born into the spirit. And it's up to us to overcome this spirit to return to God in the resurrection. So it's not humanity, people who are unworthy. It's the fallen spirit that is unworthy. People, humanity, we are the hands and the action of the universe. We make things happen. We can just look here at the human beings who have made things happen. Sometimes there are good people, sometimes there are bad people. Unfortunately, it's all in the fallen spirit, which is why they still can say it's wicked or corrupt or etc., etc. Doesn't mean they're terrible people. It means they are still creating and planting seeds and bearing fruit of a fallen spirit, and that's the problem. The problem is not the people. We are the action of the universe. And when we are born in fallen spirit, we are going to be the action and the hands of the fallen universe, the fallen spirit, Satan, the dragon, the devil, etc., etc., whatever name you want to give it, the man of lawlessness, the Antichrist. Because that's where we're born, and we must overcome. It's those who then are contacted by messengers, prophets, teachers, pastors, sages, of those people who truly work for God. I'm not saying all these people work for God, because some of them are false, and we know that. But the true teachers, the true prophets, the true sages are here to wake us up, to say, look, you were born here, but you can get out of this by going to God, being born again, being renewed in spirit. That's what Jesus said. You must be born of water and of spirit. And that's what we need to do to get out of this spirit. So here we are creating as the active universal hands of creativity. We are it. That's how important we are. We're not unimportant. We're not unworthy. We are the center of the universe. We are the ones who do things. We take the spirit and we plant seeds and we bear fruit. And as long as we do that in the fallen world, yeah, there's going to be some unworthiness, not to us, but to our creation. But if we're tied to our creation, we don't do anything more. We don't try to get out of that fallen spirit. We're going to be one with our creation. We're going to continue to be that, and then we will go the way of the corrupt world. We will perish, be annihilated. There is no hell. There is no hell as Christianity wants us to believe there's hell. Because God won't leave things like that. God is trying to resurrect everything. Why would he leave that? That's the most ridiculous concept I've ever heard, honestly. We are taken into the lake of fire in judgment, and we will perish if we don't get out of the spirit. That spirit has to be resurrected. And if we are one with that fallen outcome, that tainted fruit, and if we keep doing the same thing in the same spirit, we will eventually go the way of that. However, if as the universal action, the universal hands, that God created us to be his sons and daughters out here creating and expanding, he said, be fruitful and multiply. That's what that means. And so we are not nothing. We are not unworthy. It's the spirit that we are born in and that we participate in, that we use to create, that is unworthy. However, when we turn to God and we receive his spirit, and now our spirit is his spirit, we are still creating, but now we are creating in divine spirit. We are divine, and there's no corruption in the divine. We are worthy because now we are in God. But we were always worthy. We were always the worthy creators of the universe. It is the spirit that we're in that is unworthy or worthy, not us. So Satan can be described, the fallen world can be described as corrupt and filthy and wicked and all of those descriptives, but not us. Because when we receive the divine spirit, we are suddenly elevated out of the fallen spirit as the greatest beings in the universe. Because God is not a being, he is spirit. But his children, his souls, those souls he created in his image, are his begotten. We are the Christ, the begotten, the only begotten of God. And God's spirit is worthy. God is worthy. And he is within us. So the battle is not us against God. It's Satan against God. It's Satan against Christ. There's the Christ and there's the Antichrist. The adversary of our fallen world is against the Christ. Why? Because it is the Christ spirit that we are supposed to be in so that we can create in divinity, in love and joy and all that God is. So when we put God first, what we're doing is we're putting his spirit over Satan's spirit. And when people say, how dare you say you're anything special? What are you talking about? I am special. I'm God's child. I'm a soul. I'm a soul who can receive God's spirit and become the Christ. I am worthy. I am important. I am special because I am a soul that was created by God that can receive his spirit, become his spirit, and then create universes and worlds in his spirit. That's what he wants us to do, to be fruitful and multiply, expand the universe with his love, his joy. So never again should we say to each other, you are unworthy, you are nothing. My God created us as the most worthy beings, his children, his creation, his Christed ones, and we must receive his spirit to be Christ. If we remain in the spirit of Satan in this fallen world, of the Antichrist, or whatever you want to call it, we will not reach our potential to be his creators in his world, expanding his universe in love and joy and peace and all that God is. It is not us against God. It is the fallen spirit, the dragon against God. In Revelation, it told us that the dragon was trying to kill the Christ child. The dragon tries to kill us as we receive the Spirit of God and become the Christ child. We are worthy. We are special, and we are the center of the universe. Always, even in the fallen state, we are the center of our universe. But if that universe is corrupt and created in the fallen spirit, we will be judged by the resurrection, and we will perish. But if we receive God's Spirit, the center of our universe will be all that is love and joy and God. So when people say you're not worthy, you're terrible, you're wicked, you're born wicked, etc., all the things that they've said in religion, don't believe them, but understand that it's the spirit that we carry, that we choose, that is important. It is not us against God, and he loves us, and he wants us to have his spirit so that we can get back to doing what we were created to do. And that's to be fruitful and multiply. Keep going, keep creating these beautiful worlds and scenarios and life for yourself in this divine spirit, in this eternal life.